Who are you when you see that all the things that you used as reference points for your identity were in fact just roles you played, was make believe? You were a son or a daughter, an employee, an employer, a father, a mother, a businessman, a scientist, an academic. These were your sense of self in the context of the society in which you grew up. You didn't know who you are outside of these reference points. Who are you? Is there something more fundamental to you, prior to you? Just like with the actor on the stage, they are not the role they play. They are really something, you would say, deeper, something more fundamental. That's the question that I sit with and have been for a while. And you feel into it, you see that initially the question has a sense of urgency to it, because that's the nature of all the roles we play. We're chasing something. We don't really know what. It's most commonly understood as time. That time is the most valuable currency, that it's running out. But what we want to accomplish in that time is a bit of a mystery. It seems to generally be something of some achievement that has to be unlocked, some goals that have to be achieved and reached for the reason of feeling worthy, feeling accomplished, But is that who we are, or is that just the role we play? And that's obviously a question that you enter into initially with the same kind of attitude that you had previously, which is it must be unlocked, it must be understood. But this question is different because it is asking you before the need to accomplish anything, before the need to perform or to achieve, before the fear of not performing, before the fear of not achieving, before any concept of winners and losers and right and wrong, prior to any of that, prior to any of those categories, who am I? And when you really sit with this question, it's not uncommon for a certain fear and dread to hit you hard. It's the fear of death. It's the fear of fire. It's the fear of suffering, the sense of lostness, a sense of disorientation, of utter lostness, of loneliness even. Having lost the things that used to give you comfort and warmth. I mean, even a prison cell defines parameters for being, right? So often, even if we begin to ask the question, what would it look like if we walk out of this construct? We'd rather stay here because, it's the fear of the unfamiliar and the comfort of the familiar. So we feel into it and we see and we experience a real dread, and that's what keeps us locked in longer than is needed, really. But so it is. And of course, what we also see is that in this asking of this question, the one who's asking the question is still related to the mind, right? So it is really just saying, I dreamt a certain set of dreams, being an actor on a stage in a societal context. The question is, what am I outside of that? Well, it's still another set of dreams, right? That's being dreamt. It might just be more lucid, more aware of the fact that this is a game. Life is a game. A very exquisite game. A very profound game. A game that can feel as serious as you want it to feel, and it could be as frivolous as you want it to be. And it'll be everything in between. And here you are. How do you play now? For me, it's clear that the only way this makes any sense is to orientate the mind in the context of that it itself is not real. It and all the dreams it dreams are not real. And that you could say that all of this is already gone. None of this is real. None of this is all, as a great teacher said, graveyard. It's all graveyard. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just to know it for what it is. And hold it like that. Sometimes what feels like a fire, sometimes what feels like death is actually love. And it feels like this not because it is trying to bring inconvenience or pain or dread or fear into our lives. It's because we have been estranged from it for so long that even when it shows up, we don't know what to do with it. It's like the prisoner who's lived in the dark prison, and the light of the open door falls in and it sears his eyes. It's painful. It's not because the light is painful in its own right, not because the light is seeking to cause pain. It's because his eyes have been so unaccustomed to it that when it falls in, it's too much. That's how it is with us and love, isn't it? When it shows up, we don't know what to do with it. And we run from it. And that's sad, but also true. And maybe over time, we can get used to it. And of course, the messages do come to us that in order to live, you must first die. That's the idea. You gotta give this system up, this, in the example I've been using, this prison existence, this very limited existence. The path forward, the path out is going to ask you to walk through the door, out, leave it behind. And that feels like a death. The whole body, just like the baby before it gets born, we can imagine is going through a terror as is being forced through the birth canal. It's not a fun experience, we would think. It doesn't seem like it's fun for anybody. But after the birth, then there's just joy. And the baby cries, yes, but soon falls in love with the new life that it was really conceived for to begin with. And so it is with us. So it's a beautiful question. Who am I prior to any roles I play? And what dreams do I dream then? And they will be, I guess, more lucid in their quality. And what's possible now? More illusions, sure. More beautiful, precious illusions. More playfulness. More life. Perhaps clarified. Perhaps purified, even, if you want. Perhaps more effulgent, more transparent to the transcendent, as somebody said. More joy, just joy, being in joy, more love, being in love, being love. Less right, wrong, less failure, success, more just being.